Today I'm going to show you how to make sourdough. If you follow these instructions exactly, you will get the best sourdough ever. Here's the ingredients you need. All-purpose flour. Salt.
And water.
Filtered water. We use our Berkey. A big bowl. And of course, your sourdough starter. You do not need this much. I'll show you how much. I fed that last night. It's all ready to go. If you don't have a sourdough starter, I will link some resources in the description box on how I made my own from just water and flour. And you will need a kitchen scale. And to cook them in, you will need 2 Dutch ovens. I have one bigger, one smaller. And for the day you bake it, you will need parchment paper to put in your Dutch ovens and 2 baking trays, baking sheets to put under your Dutch ovens. And of course, cold brew. Just kidding, you don't really need cold brew, but it's morning time, so I need my cold brew. I don't normally use a kitchen scale when I'm in the kitchen except for this sourdough recipe because when you do it exactly by the grams, it turns out perfect every time. First thing I'm gonna do is tear out my bowl on the kitchen scale so I can add in 950 grams of all-purpose flour. 951, good enough. And you're gonna need 700 grams of water. So same thing, I put this on my scale, made sure it said 0, and then I added water until it said 700 grams. It's about 3 cups. But do it by the grams because when you do it this way, exactly, it turns out perfect every time. We're gonna mix it together very lightly.
I wanna mix it, Mommy.
Okay, here.
I wanna feel it. It's so excited. It's gonna be squishy.
Gentle. Okay. Just touch it like this. Cover that and let it sit 30 minutes. Whenever I have 2 days off in a row, I like to make this and I actually freeze the second loaf or I slice it up and freeze it to make sure that it lasts us for a couple weeks in our family. Time to add your sourdough starter to this and then we will add the salt. I want 200 grams of sourdough starter, so I have it on my kitchen scale and I'm going to pour in until it's roughly 200 grams. Okay, I've got roughly 200 grams and now I'm gonna add my 15 to 20 grams of salt. So with your hand a little wet, you're gonna just dimple these together. Cover and let rest for 30 minutes. Again. For the next hour, you're gonna stretch and fold this every 15 minutes. So 4 times in 1 hour. Let me show you how. Go around, pull it up, fold it over. Pull it up, fold it over. This is because we're not kneading it. We're stretching and folding it over time and allowing the gluten to form that way. When it gets to be too hard to really do it, then that's when you know you let it rest for another 15 minutes. 1. After the hour and you've done the stretch and fold for about 4 times, you're gonna let it sit covered for the rest of the day. This is what it's gonna look like and you're going to see at the end of the day, it's going to rise a lot. Ba-bam! It is humongous now. I mean, look at how much this thing grew. It's now been about 9 hours. 11 a.m. is about when I finished the first process and it's 8 o'clock now. So the next step for this is to dump this onto a floured surface. So I've cleaned off the counter here and we're gonna divide it into 2 loaves. Since my 2 Dutch ovens are not the same size, I'm gonna do one a little bit smaller than the other with my handy dandy little scraper. Put this one off to the side. This one, you're basically gonna fold over the 4 corners like so, flip it over and kind of scoot it to form a little ball, but you want to keep those bubbles, so you don't want to like mash it down or anything like that. One corner, the other, one, this, and then flip it. Kind of drag it on the make a little ball. See, and you can see the little bubbles, all those little air pockets, and you want to preserve those. You don't want to mash it down. So let this sit on the counter. I'm gonna cover it 30 minutes. This is gonna give it a little bit of a crust before the next step. Now that it's been 30 minutes, I'm going to put these in a bowl lined with a tea towel and put them in the fridge overnight. I'm just gonna sprinkle some flour into the bowl as well. You can use like rice flour and stuff, I think people say. You're gonna put the top side on the bottom side. So you're gonna flip it over when you pick it up. This is where the scraper comes in handy because you can just slide it under, flip it over. So the bottom side is gonna be up. Cover, put it in the fridge. Pick up the second one, flip it over. Top side down, bottom side's up, cover and put in the fridge. Overnight. In the morning, you want to preheat your oven to 475 degrees Fahrenheit. And then put your Dutch ovens inside the oven to preheat with the oven. Now that it's morning time, it's been over 12 hours, I'm gonna get some parchment paper here and then bring out my bowls from the fridge. 2. 1, 2, 3, plop! Plop! Okay, you're gonna plop them onto the parchment paper. 1, 2, 3, plop! Literally. Now you're supposed to score the top, so like do lines in it with a razor blade. I haven't gotten a razor blade, so you can definitely just use a knife and make whatever pattern. So I'm just gonna do a pretty simple one with this knife.
What are you doing?
And my oven is still preheating.
You're doing that?
Doing a little pattern. This is so that the steam can escape while it's cooking.
You're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Doing a circle?
Yeah.
Why?
I am not the artist here, but it will do. Okay.
Good.
Oven's preheated to 475, so I'm gonna take out one of the Dutch ovens and put it here, put this inside. Very hot Dutch oven. Sourdough inside, and I like to just trim the edges so they don't burn in the oven. I'm gonna put it back in the oven. Bake this in your preheated oven at 475 with these being preheated for 25 minutes. Next, we're going to put cookie sheets underneath of the Dutch ovens and take the lid off for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Ooh, look how much that went up. See that? Woo! Okay, come look before I put the back on. Mm-hmm. You got sunglasses on to see it? All right, I'm just gonna test this to see what the internal temp is. Ooh, look at those. I want it to be around 205, 203. Maybe I'll do 2 more minutes in here. Okay, so it's probably gonna end up being 18 minutes after you put the trays under and take the tops off. Test the temp again. Check this out. Bring it over here. Super hot, guys. Here is your beautiful sourdough loaf. This recipe makes 2, obviously, and they're so delicious. You've got that crispy hard crust, but you've got very bubbly and like airy on the inside, super soft. Really is the best recipe. And if you follow these instructions exactly, it will make loaves just like this. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out this video here on how to make water kefir. Until we meet again, don't forget, life is better together.